Thank you so much for being here. We're going to get to some of the spots. We're also going to get to some of the stuff on this table coming up. A lot of these places I didn't even know existed, starting with Arbor Hills Nature Preserve.
Well, first off, I didn't know much about them either until I decided to hike to the base camp of Mount Everest. Had never been hiking before.
Wow.
Never been an outdoors guy. And so I had to become very familiar with the the trekking hills in Dallas to get ready to go to Mount Everest.
Absolutely, and we're going to be talking about, you're part of a documentary as well. We're going to talk about that in just a bit. But let's start with Arbor Hills Nature Preserve. It's in Plano.
It's right in suburban Plano. I mean, it's an amazing little place. I mean, you've got developments all the way around it, and you've got this beautiful little preserve there. The trails are well shaded. There are paved trails if you're taking strollers or biking. You can get off the trails, and it's a little bit more secluded. But being in the middle of suburban Plano, it is very busy. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. So make sure you go in the off hours if you're going to go. But it's a great trail, beautiful. It's very hard to get lost in those trails because it's completely fenced as well.
So it's very safe. That's great as well, for the entire family. Right. Also, Cedar Ridge Preserve, which is located just 20 minutes south of Dallas.
That's probably the most difficult. I mean, it's got a lot of variations of trails, too. It's got the very easy, basic trails, paved trails as well. But you can get off those trails, and there's some very steep trails in there. It's very well marked, so it's hard to get lost. That's probably the most diverse of all the trails in Dallas.
Okay, also River Legacy Park in North Arlington, about 1,300 acres?
That's big.
Yeah.
It's big. And the paved trails aren't well shaded, so it's very, very hot. But then you can get off of the trails, and there's a lot of trails back in there, but not well marked. A lot of people get lost. Search parties called out, so I would not suggest that unless you're going with somebody that's already been there before or know the trails. And make sure you always take a trail mat.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's the first and foremost. Make sure you have a trail mat.
Well, we want to get to some of the other stuff that you recommend bringing along with you, starting with what to wear. What have you got over here?
Well, what to wear, the most important thing first is your shoes.
Okay.
Okay, if you don't have the right shoes, you're going to hate it. It's going to be a miserable experience. For Dallas, you really don't need the true hiking boot. I mean, these are the boots I took to Everest. Because it's not real rocky. It's not, the terrain is pretty flat for the most part.
What standard running shoes do?
These are trail shoes. These are trail running shoes.
Okay.
And these usually work pretty well for most of Dallas. And the only thing about these is they're not waterproof.
Okay.
So make sure it's dry out.
Wonderful.
And then REI is the best place to talk about shoes. They know everything. So tell them what you're going to do. Tell them the hiking experience that you have, and they'll put you in the right boot.
The experts will be there. All right, when it comes to clothing, what do you want to remember?
You want to remember sunblock. You want to remember, which is very, very basic. Sunglasses, bandana for me, bandana for everyone. Really covers up my bald spot. Keeps the sweat from dripping all of the sunblock off. These are zipper pants. Not so much needed in Dallas, but in areas if you're going to go trekking and gets temperature changes, change quickly. So you can actually zip them off. Got a pair of shorts. Boom, you got pants on.
Of course, you say sunglasses, got to protect your eyes, always, of course, the sunblock as well. What about snacks?
Snacks, you have to have some food if you get hungry on the trail. So just a old Walla bar or a trail mix bar is great. Absolutely water is a necessity. And my favorite thing is when you take the pooch, you got to have a collapsible water bowl.
Oh,
for the water for the
that's
dog.
Great as well. And you said, can you take the dogs to all of these destinations?
You can take the dogs to all of these. All of them have leash rules, but you can take dogs to all of them, and I highly suggest that.
Wonderful stuff. Now, real quickly, you were involved in a documentary that's going to be airing this weekend, right?
Right. The Mount Everest trek was a trek for my foundation to raise money for a cancer center in Nepal. And MTV documentary crew followed us. Alex Coletti was the producer, and it's going to air on MTV High Def on Sunday. And we're having a watching party at the Inwood Theater Sunday night. So I'm going to see myself on the big screen.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it'd be great.
It's scary.
It'd be great.
Trust me, I have to see myself every day.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's scary. There's going to be more information, though, on our website. Head over to myfoxdfw.com.